knowing you a little bit, and you brand of goons over at B Team, there is a small element of competition. Now, I'm not talking the competition where you don't want each other to do
Yes,
well.
I wanted to get a TKO because Damien got an insane TKO. Immediately, yes. And I couldn't do it. I tried. I couldn't. I hate it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast for Rapid Sparse, coming to you with another great installment of Grappling Hour. Do I have a great episode for you guys? First of all, if you were watching Combat Jiu Jitsu, people got knocked out. I think that's the goal of it. I don't know. Sometimes I get lost. Sometimes I think we're supposed to be doing great jiu-jitsu. Well, it helps when the guy who won the whole thing already had great jiu-jitsu. But then, for extra credit, looked like he was trying to win some sort of striking Olympics. So I don't know if this is something that he's been working on with his cohorts over at B Team, if this was a goal of him saying, like, you know what? I want to show you guys what I actually got into jiu-jitsu and MMA for. But this weekend, with a championship performance at Combat Jiu Jitsu Worlds, ETHAN CRELINSTEN definitely made all of us take notice. And I postulated this, but now I get to ask him as we bring him onto the show. The question I have for you, Senor ETHAN, is when you came to this event, were you just trying to get a knockout? Because when I saw you going, I know you've got a really good rear naked choke, but it looked like you were more content on trying to find a knockout finish. Please welcome to the show, ETHAN CRELINSTEN.
What's up, Raph, my man? Cool. So yeah, to answer your question, like I was definitely working. So priority was wrestling and in training, just to sort of like backtrack from the question a bit. Like I was very intent on staying on top and not being pinned down in any way for half a second. Then next priority is cement, figure out ways to cement position where I can deal damage with strikes and force them to shell up. And you kind of force them to do stupid shit with their body because they don't want to get hit. So like they bring their hands up and their elbows up and you ride the knees up and mount, and you could then fall off for an arm bar or get their hands up and get heavy strikes and get the turtle and take their back. So I was definitely doing that in training. So yeah, I was absolutely thinking of getting a couple TKOs. It didn't happen. The guys, the way they reacted ended up giving me an opportunity for a clean submission. So I'm not going to not take it. I'm just going to, I don't want to not take the submission and get tired and maybe get tired earlier on later in the tournament. So I'm just, if the submission comes, I jumped on it, and Damien got, an insane TKO. The guy he TKO'd is a super nice guy. Very, very cool. We had dinner here a day ago. He's the nicest guy ever. So it's good to see him back on his feet, healthy, and, back intact and everything. But it was a beautiful knockout. Damien's striking was heavy. It was crazy. There was stuff, he was like yelling from the corner with my match versus Orchard. And I wish I had really listened more to what he was saying, because I was so concerned with my positioning. I didn't really want to out-position myself to really land the heavier shots. But maybe if I had done that, I could have got a TKO. So yeah, I was for sure trying to get TKOs, and the submissions just came before. So,
well, it's not for nothing. You were definitely trying to do it. I could tell in each match, from my perspective, the moment when you go, shit, all right, I'm just going to choke him. Because I've seen your work with your back takes. You, in my opinion, look like you could have finished it 2 minutes earlier in most of those matches, but then just said like, nah, you know what? I've put in enough strikes here. I've made my statement. Now I'm just going to finish because we got to move this train on.
Yeah, that's not far off. Yeah, there was so let's see. The first one, I wasn't like thinking like I'm gonna TKO this guy. I was just like land heavy shots, land heavy shots, land heavy shots, and then he kept like exposing his back. And the thing is, like in training, I also practice this. Like you don't want to chase the back from a shitty position. You want to like get them to really almost like get them thinking like just take my fucking back, stop hitting me. So it was more of that instead of just like if he rolls through and I jump on the back. Like it's not so important to take the back. You could do a lot of damage from mount. A heavy high mount position. So there was that. There was like the back is also obviously king of a position, but mount with strikes is there's a lot to argue. It's arguably better or just as good. I kind of got distracted. Is that relative to what you were saying?
No.
Kind of it. Like, yeah. So do I want to submit the guy or do I want to TKO? I'm going to take whatever I can get. But there was a few positions where it's like, do I like go to take the back or do I just sort of ride out the rotation and stay in mount and keep striking? It's a bit of that. And then eventually, yeah, it was like, we're 4, 5, 6 minutes into the match. I'm like, okay, I got to submit the guy and get this out of, I don't want to stay too long. I don't want to burn myself out. I want to recover for the next match. And that's it. Yeah.
I guess what made me laugh is that from the bracketing standpoint, and also from knowing you a little bit, and you brand of goons over at B Team, there is a small element of competition. Now, I'm not talking the competition where you don't want each other to do
yes,
well.
I wanted to get a TKO because Damien got an insane TKO. Immediately, yes. And I couldn't do it. I tried. I couldn't. I hate it. But I won, so that's good.
Well, okay. The reason why I ask is it just looked that way because more than even Damien went out there and was definitely very aggressive with his slaps. But you came out and you were just possessed. And I'm like looking at you and I thought to myself, is this that kind of culmination of where your jiu-jitsu training began? If people know your story, they know that, obviously you have a very well-versed jiu-jitsu game, but that you were originally drawn to jiu-jitsu for more than just jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, I actually was doing just striking, just boxing and kickboxing, Muay Thai, and some like barely some Greco, like a little bit. I was like learning. There were guys helping me, but I wasn't doing much grappling at all. And I wanted to do an MMA fight, and then the guys at TriStar, thank God, they told me that, if I don't do any jiu-jitsu, I'm just going to get subbed. And they were, absolutely right. I went with some guy who's smaller than me, Neil Shepard. He's out there. And Neil just beat the living shit out of me for like a full round. So I'm like, all right, I'll do this. But circling back, yeah, it was kicking and punching before, grappling and submitting and all that shit.
I was just very happy that you got to show that side of your game because I don't know how many people truly know that about your story. They're so used to you just being an excellent grappler that it really did seem that once you signed on to this became a showcase for, I've got great jiu-jitsu, obviously, but now I can kind of show another form of my art, of my skill.
Yeah, it just highlights the position you're in. So like if your grappling is really good, then your striking is gonna be devastating. Whether it's like I'm not like that technical, like I could have like practiced to hit harder. I don't hit anywhere near as hard as these MMA guys. Open palm or close fist. I don't hit as hard as them. They practice. They actually know how to throw a punch or kick properly. I haven't done that in years, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But the positioning gets me a big advantage. Like I'm able to, get past the guard and cement a good position and have my hands free. So that's where I get the upper hand there. But I don't want any MMA guys out there thinking like, oh, Ethan thinks he knows how to. Like, no, don't come at me with that. Just people saying crazy shit now on these posts, like, oh, just do MMA. I'm like, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the show.
So you're content just doing combat jiu-jitsu. You're not.
Yeah, I'm not doing MMA. I made that decision a while ago. It's too late for me. I'm 28. I don't have any delusions that I'm gonna be some MMA champ now. I'm happy with jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna get my ADCC in there and go for that.
Hey, good for you, man, because I definitely joked with a couple of my buddies. You know, when we said that we were doing this interview, my first thought was, oh, okay, cool. I'm excited about it. And somebody who I was training with this week, they said, oh, you think he's going to go into MMA? And I was like, I'd have to ask him. But I go, if I know him and I'm just guessing, no, that was the MMA. Like, that was the opportunity to say, like, hey, go nuts. And so I go, if that's how I was looking at your performance, that's how I was like, yeah, no, I think he's making a good statement here.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good way to, it's like a very light hybrid of striking and grappling, but it's nothing like MMA. MMA, it's still like a completely new level. It's another world, and I don't have any intentions to try and like go that extra distance to acquire all those extra skills. And I'm good with just jiu-jitsu. I would have honestly, like, a regular EBI is what I've always wanted to do for years since I saw it. Since I saw like Jeff Glover and Gio Martinez go at it, years and years ago. But hey, it turns out the first real one is a CJJ. That's cool. You just stay on top and that's it. But yeah, I don't have any intentions of going MMA. I found my path and I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to circle back to this, but I will pay a compliment, which is, a lot of the times when we get jiu-jitsu guys who go into this combat jiu-jitsu format, my biggest nervousness is, oh man, kind of exposed is when jiu-jitsu guys don't know how to strike. And I thought what you did was you coming out guns blazing is like, oh yeah, no, if you're a pure jiu-jitsu guy, that is a pretty good way of saying, obviously position helps you, but yeah, you did come out very aggressive. So let's go back to this idea. When did you get the invite and what was the appeal? Because they did just bring back EBI. So you had the opportunity potentially, if it came up,
wait it out,
to go out and do EBI. So why this?
Yeah. So it was like, the timing wise, it was pretty perfect for my surgery and for ADCC. Like, I definitely wanted to compete early enough before ADCC, but not too early close to my knee surgery, which was back in September. So it was a perfect timing. It was a perfect weight class. 155 I don't even cut to 155. I walk around, I wake up 154 without doing anything. And it was just good. It was good timing. It was a good thing also to force me to wrestle, because like I never really wrestled a lot in competition. So it forced me to like really, really control my training and focus on wrestling and standing up, not getting pinned down, which is great for ADCC as well. And I'm not a good striker by any means. I'm just good at positioning myself where I can strike as best as I can without like, having to base around a lot and having to get past the guard. Like I'm good at getting past the guard, and then from past the guard, anyone can hit hard. You're right on top of the guy, so that's good. Had I had more actual striking knowledge, maybe I would have got some TK. Damien brings actual MMA experience to the table with that event. He's a good grappler, and he's also he hasn't fought ever, as far as I know, but he's professionally or amateur. But he trained a lot actual striking, so he understands how to deliver a heavy hit. So that's serious. That takes skill and understanding and positioning, and that's something I haven't practiced. So I wouldn't say I'm a good striker. I would just say I'm a good positional grappler, and from being a good positional grappler, you can hurt people from those good positions, whether you know how to hit or not. I just went like, okay, I'm past the guard, I'm just going to give it everything and hope for the best.
You can tell the Canadianness.
It ended up opening for a submission, not a TKO. So,
well, you can tell the Canadianness and the modesty is coming through, because you could have fooled the rest of us. And you bring up Damien, but how do we put this one too? The two of you putting together that video was a lie, because juxtaposed those two images, looking at him being like, haha, funny, I'm hitting this, and then a day later going, Oh my God, that poor dude who got knocked out. Like, jokes are my world. So when I see you guys doing that, I go, yeah, it's pretty funny. And then afterwards I go, yeah, that's way less funny after I see that massively amazing clip.
Yeah, that was a brutal knockout. That was brutal. That was a heavy shot. You know, it just goes to show you can't just play guard, and like you got to prioritize position way more when you include strikes, which is kind of like the whole point. Like you can't get you can no longer just like stall and close guard or stall and let the guy pass your guard and hope for overtime because the guy's gonna tee off on your face. So not like that's what the guy was doing. The guy was, you know, trying to fight from guard, but just for the general sense of that. And yeah, we were fucking around, you know, in the video. We're just trying to keep it playful, you know. We didn't know what to post about it, so that was a good idea in the gym at the end of practice.
I mean, again, it's funny, and so I'm not going to take that away from you guys. It was just after the context was given, I go, woo, okay. And that's the only thing I could remember the whole time. So I'm watching it live. I do a little fight companion for that. And so my real-time reactions as I'm drinking and watching that is just laughing out of dark humor. Oh, God. And I'm glad he's okay. You mentioned you guys went out to dinner with the guy, though?
We just had dinner here. He came over and we, you know, watched some of the matches, just chilled out a bit. Just, you know, he lives out here, so it's cool. This is his gym. I trained at his gym the other day. Yeah. Cool guy.
Mean, obviously, competitors have a pretty good sense of knowing you go out there, things can happen. But I'll be very honest with you. If somebody knocked me out like that, I don't think I would be going over to just chill and hang and just go like, let's watch me get knocked out. This seems like a good, I'd put that on, put that stream on again. So how did that all come together?
Well, I'm staying at my buddy's house out here. He trains at the same gym. So they're all like, that's the gang out here, you know, that's their team, their squad. And they're all friends, so he just came over and hung out for a bit. Not much to it. He's just a nice guy. We just hung out, had some food, had some drinks, chilled. Nothing crazy. I don't know.
Well, that's good. Again, I wouldn't have ever known that you guys got together unless we had just talked about it right now. But it does show a lot about his character that you guys were all boys
really
afterwards.
Nice guy.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's get into asking about what the preparation felt like for you, because we obviously mentioned you could have wrote it out, but it is a nice amount of time before ADCC, as you mentioned. So I'd love to ask, you know, what was the preparation like in terms of this? Was it any different? Did you make any detours? Because you did mention a little bit about the wrestling, but were there any other sort of things that you were strategically putting into any kind of camp or any kind of preparation for this event specifically?
Yeah, for this event specifically, I was when I would get past the guard and train, so I would wrestle, as you said, but, you know, I'd either get the takedown or I'd get taken down and immediately scramble to get up or to off balance so they can't, you know, their hands are busy doing something. And then wrestle, ideally take them down. Then once I get them down, the goal is pass the guard and then get to positions where I could like simulate strikes, and then, you know, you don't hurt the guy you're training with, so he understands the what's it called, the necessity or the urgency to not panic, but like there's urgency there to move. You can't just like, okay, you're in mount, like breathe and elbow escape. No, there's like a sense of urgency there to aggressively elbow escape and kip and get the guy off you. So you pretend you're going to hit the guy moves around a lot more than he otherwise would. So you're both working harder. You know, he's going to either gas himself out trying to escape, or I'm going to gas myself out trying to hold him down. And you get more positions. You get better at riding out a guy in mount. You get better at like taking the back at the right time, not like taking the back and the guy ends up escaping and ending up in top close guard on you, which is a complete disaster in the case of combat jiu-jitsu. So pretty much that. I would just I'd pass a guard and simulate strikes and get the guy to freak out a bit and ride it out. Stay past the guard, stay in a position where I could feed him shots, take the back, but don't overcommit on taking the back. Like if you're taking the back, but the guy starts to ride out a turning escape, get back to mount, or disengage completely and stand up, don't end up on bottom. You know, it's just different priorities. And I think I'm going to hold on to those. I think some of them are really good for just standard point systems, like, you know, ADCC, even sub only. Like I don't want to be underneath guys anymore. I think it's better to be on top. I think my best positions are when I'm passing people's guards, and so it's taught me a lot in that sense, and it's helped me scramble for a more ADCC-esque rule set style.
Yeah, I famously tell the guys who I work with, especially if we're doing sub-only rounds, and I know they're competing, I go, whatever I'm doing, don't do. So just know that this works in this context. I am not telling you to do this in a fight, and I'm sure as hell not telling you to do this in a combat jiu-jitsu match, because I was like, I know I would get the shit slapped out of me. So that's a very good point to make. You mentioned that you weren't hitting anybody in training, but did the thought ever occur to you that this is one of the few times that you can hit Craig, and it is kind of warranted?
Oh, it absolutely, Craig. It occurred to me before ever thinking of combat jiu-jitsu that, you know, I can accidentally throw a few strikes in there, but unfortunately Craig is very good, and if I piss him off too much, I will receive that back. So got to be nice to him, you know. Because there were definitely a few. We trained a couple times. He's a lot bigger, you know, so it's like it makes sense for me to train with guys that are more my size for a 155 tournament, especially going into it. I don't want to have my confidence wrecked training with this fucking monster, so definitely ducking him a little bit. But yeah, we trained a few times. We like pretended, you know, it's nothing crazy though.
Yeah, and this is just kind of the absurdity of his sense of humor, which is good. It is just, there are levels to this game. So when he puts those like highlight cut reels of you being like, fuck, or, you know, many other prominent MMA stars, champions, if you would, doing that, I always remind people, I'm like, yeah, that's funny and all, but I was like, Ethan's the fucking shit at jiu-jitsu. So it's just more frustrating because of all people who got a good sense of humor and trash talk, the fact that he is so good at jiu-jitsu is highly inconvenient.
It just complements it in the worst way possible. Yeah, he's really good. It's crazy. It's crazy training with him. It's a privilege and a curse.
It does look like that. I do want to ask about the ACL surgery. So how long did that take you out, and what was the rehab like sort of situation in terms of that? Because a lot of people, if you just rehab an injury, you're just looking to kind of get a regular function again. Most people aren't necessarily at your competitive level, but you really want to compete, and it's an ADCC year. How scary was that situation? And again, how did you end up finding your way back?
Yeah, so it was early enough where it was like, all right, if I just, like, you know, according to the research, you should be able to compete, you know, a full year later. So it's definitely scary. It's definitely a low point. You know, I'm there in Montreal with my leg broken and atrophied. Surgery was like extraordinarily painful after. It was not fun. So yeah, it was fucking brutal. It was terrible. I despised that portion, the beginning portion. I hope no one has to experience that. And being an ADCC year, yeah, it sucks. You know, I'm not like 20 years old. I'm 28, so it's not like I have infinite ADCCs left. So it was just about like patience, not overdoing it, slow, progressive. Like I would notice it getting better week by week, which is motivating. Then when I was able to like walk normally and start to, you know, stationary bike consistently, took the flight to Austin. I did a lot of rehab in Montreal, but like you can't do so much that close to surgery. So I started doing more and more rehab in Austin. And then I think March, like early March was my first like kind of training session back. So September to March is a little fast, a little risky. But I would like jump back in. It would maybe get a bit sore, so I'd jump back out. And as for the rehab, I'm still doing. I'm going to be doing rehab for my whole life on every part of my body, injured or not. I'm definitely going to focus on my knees, but you know, it's you got to do it preemptively and post-emptively, if that's a word. I don't know, but it's so important, and I never realized. It taught me a lot. It taught me like to just go at whatever pace you have to go at. I started training at 19. I'm not going to train like I trained at 19. I was just doing jiu-jitsu and going 110% every day. It's not you can't. You got to pace yourself, other you're going to break every joint in your body. So kind of a messy answer. I don't know if that really like answers your question, but the rehab is an ongoing process, and if you injure yourself and you ignore it, then if you re-injure yourself, then it's on you. It's nothing you can. You got to take care of your shit. It was scary, and I'm happy to be back, and this was a big deal for me in every sense. Like in the sense of like I didn't really feel it. I trained the next day. I wasn't sore. I wasn't hurt in any way. I wasn't really attacked much from my perspective in any way. Yeah, it was great. It was a beautiful success back, and it's motivating. And I feel like I'm back in the ropes. And another one coming up in England, Diego Pato. So that's going to be a tough one. I'm like really looking forward to just the challenge of the match. He's really tough, and it'll be a good sort of intro to the ADCC bracket, because he's for sure like one of the better guys in the bracket, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's an amazing match. I want to go back here. You mentioned September to March. So obviously when you start coming back, you mentioned you jump in and out of classes just to be smart about how you're going to go about your training, especially for a big event like this. My question is, when did it feel like your body, your injury was back in terms of where you needed to be for such a high level competition? Like at what point did you kind of feel like, oh no, I can jiu-jitsu at a high level and it would be okay?
Yeah. So I think Eddie messaged me about combat jiu-jitsu before I had really felt I can compete and train, but I saw the trajectory going in the direction that I'll be good to go by June 5th. I'd say I felt like I was really good to go by like end of April, or no, sorry, like early April. About like when I went out to trials, like that was when I was like, all right, I'm good to go, and I'll be even better in a month, and even better in another month. So I think like early April, late March, I was like, all right, I'm back. And then before that, I think like early March, Eddie had texted me about CJJ. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll be good by then. And yeah, but regardless, even today, like I'm still, just not like going balls to the wall every day, every session, every day. I got to go at the pace that my body needs to go at, and that's just how it's going to be. And that's all right. Everyone's going to go at their own pace and learn however they're going to learn, at whatever speed they're going to learn it at.
So I want to do a little bit of match by match, just so that people know. We're actually going to do a separate little program here as called a tape study, where we actually break down your championship match.
Yes.
I would love to get a little bit of detail in terms of the previous matches. So I'm going to throw the matches at you in order. And then we'll just kind of very briefly go over the championship one. But from your first match, we mentioned, you went out guns blazing. You end with a rear naked choke. You obviously were hyped because your guy Damien did well. And the competition itself, it starts to get you more and more excited. So when this happens, what's going through your head at the very beginning of match number one, sir?
Okay, so beginning of match number one, I was definitely like thinking like, all right, don't re-injure yourself. Don't get caught on bottom and get smacked in the face. And don't get tired. Pace yourself. So I was definitely like repeating those three things in my head. Just, make sure nothing goes wrong.
And
yeah.
Oh, the question was going to be is, at what point do you kind of look at and kind of say, I think I've got this in the bag, and then you make that moment's decision to go for that rear naked choke? Because again, I think you joked about it, but you were selling some instructionals, I'm sure, after that kind of a performance. As somebody put in there, they're like, I don't know what you have to do Look at this. If that doesn't sell DVDs and instructionals, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I saw that comment. I love that. Yeah, so I mean, it's like a bit of a feeling out process. Like every time you go against a new opponent, I would like prod the collar ties, like get a feel for his hand fighting standing up and try and wear him down, like get hands heavy on his head, get his lower back, get his core fatigued. And he took one shot at the beginning. I remember, like, I've rewatched the match a few times now. Like, he took that first shot, and I kind of just got an underhook in and like semi whip over, semi pancake, and it just felt like, all right, it's going to be easy to stay on top and not get taken down. Like, just weather whatever else storm he's got in. And then like as I put him down, he was like immediately uncomfortable on his back. So I was like heavy. I was like threatening the back, threatening the guard pass simultaneously. There was a really cool scramble there at the beginning, and he managed to get back up to his feet. But then I saw like he was way more tired after that scramble than I was. So immediately I'm like, all right, that's a good start. Keep pushing the pace, keep him moving. Don't let him catch his breath. And then he was like backing up a lot. He was like, his posture was up. He was like sucking in air. So I gave him little shoves, and then standing double. They recenter us. And then I managed to stay on top. It's hard to remember. I'm not good at like remembering off the top here. But yeah, I managed to stay on top, get past the guard, and then it was pretty much like mount back with a bunch of strikes. Finally, those heavy strikes, the video I keep posting, the heavy strikes opened up for a strangle. He just like completely exposed his back. He's just like, get off me. I cemented the strangle, and yeah, that was it.
That's dope. That was a good start to the day. We go to the next match. The next match is you and Kieran. And Kieran actually had a really good start to his day too. I was really impressed by his performance. So now we're going into that. Tell us a little bit about that match from your recollection.
Yeah, so me and Kieran, the two Canadians, Kieran's a savage, man. He's been tearing it up. I remember he was so good in the gi coming up. Like he was like a really high belt in Toronto, and I would go to Grappling Industries and compete in Toronto. He would like ref some of the matches I competed in, or he would always be doing like the division above, either in the weight or the belt rank or something. So it's cool. This match was like long overdue. We were always in different weight. He was always bigger and I was always smaller, I think. So now we're like closer to weight, so we're gonna overlap in weight classes. So it's cool, man. It's cool to finally have a match with him. It's cool to finally just grapple with him. You know, we've been our paths have been so parallel for so long. So it's cool to finally cross paths. Wrestling, I don't think is something he's been doing throughout his career. So I guess we're both kind of new to it. I managed, I think, to get the upper hand. I think I was heavier on his head. Managed to get a little more tired than me standing. I got that, I don't know what it's called, where you get that like head pinch, you turn him around. There was a name for it. One of the commentators said it. Anyway, got him down, got him to try and enter my legs. I stuffed the leg entry, but he pulled me into 50-50. Then he hit me with one good whack. Like I was kind of joking. I hit him with like a few stupid ones because I wasn't in a position to hit him with heavy shots. And I go like a couple stupid ones on his face. And then he goes for a big one. I like just get my head out of the way. Everyone laughs. And I kind of forget about it. And then I get top 50-50. And he hits me with one. Boom, connects. Woke me up. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, it's on. And, no malicious feelings to him now, obviously. But in the match, I'm like, I'm going to kill you. Like, I will not forget that. And yeah, the rest of the match there's a lot of 50-50, a lot of, he like lightly caught my heel there for a sec. But I think if you ask him, he might agree with me that it wasn't really any real threat. I felt like I was safe. I think I have good abilities to hide my heels from inverted heel hooks. Yeah, and we were in 50-50 for a bit. I managed to get out of there. I don't think he stood back up. If he did, I'm not remembering. Anyway, he entered my legs a couple more times, 50-50. Finally, I got out. I managed. Damien actually cornered. He said to go back to outside passing. Went back to outside passing. I made him turtle. Got behind him, took his back, and pretty much immediately strangled him after I took his back. That's,
I'm glad that you kind of bring that recollection complete with the moment that you went, what I call, like, you know, when a cyborg or a robot goes into a heavy, oh, I just remembered you operated kill mode sort of a thing. Because I think when I was watching it live on air, I think I saw him connect with you and I go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I definitely remembered you waking up and going like, no, he's going to remember he can hit now. Yikes. All right.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about, like, I don't know why. I just wasn't like fully awake in terms of the combat. I was just like, we're grappling. And he connected from bottom 50-50. He just like whacked me right in the face. Wow, I'm going to get you back for that one. All right, it's on. That's it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, that's pretty dope. All right, we get to this match between you and Damien. Is there a gentleman's agreement that you guys are not going to hit each other? Because it's kind of weird. Both you and him on one side, Nathan and Keith on the other side. It does look, at least from the version of it on paper, that very few slaps will be had.
No, there was absolutely no gentleman's agreement. The agreement was we're great friends. Let's just fucking try and kill each other, and that's it. May the best man win. The problem is Damien's hard to hold it. Me and Damien both are not just going to be held down and hit. We're both going to scramble to our feet. So, like, you don't have an opportunity to use a hand to throw a slap. Like, you have to use your hands to hold the guy down or cement a position to finish it. You're not going to have the opportunity to hit the guy. So it's pretty much why not a lot of strikes were thrown. But yeah, we're definitely going to do it. Like, yeah.
If you had asked me where my money was going to be that it was more likely you guys were going to slap each other than Nathan and Keith. So imagine my surprise when I look over and I go, uh-oh, Keith's winning this. Shit, yeah, Nate's going to slap the fuck out of him now. And that was kind of how that looked from my sensibility over here.
Yeah, I mean, I saw like a couple minutes in and out. You know, I was like warming up and all that stuff with Keith and Orchard. And they were whacking each other. I forget who, but one of them was throwing some heavy shots, and then like Nate slammed Keith out of a rear naked. That was like a whole little controversial thing. Keith kind of got a little flustered there, I guess. Definitely, to Keith's credit, like, you're not allowed to do that. But I think Nate asked the ref, and the ref said, "Yeah, do it." And it was like a bit of a mistake there, I think. But you know, shit happens. Got to roll with the punches, but sucks for Keith in that sense, you know.
Yeah, I did think of that in the terms of the landing of that was just weird in the sense that Nate did ask, like he was locked in it, and
Nate asked.
If your officiant does say that, then what are you supposed to do? Even if it's not the right ruling. The hard part for me was I was like, you know, I think Keith could have accepted it as a loss if it felt like a loss to him in terms of that. So when that happened, I just go, yeah, I kind of understand it from both perspectives. Why have rules if you're not going to follow them? But at the same point, your opponent did ask, so he did give you the benefit of giving that. So, but yeah, when I saw them slap each other and you guys still best buds and not slap on your side, I go, shit, I had that one wrong.
No, it's just hard to slap if the guy is hard to hold down, which is what we were both working on.
Yep. So now we go into this for a championship level sort of thing. I guess my question to you before I even get to what your thoughts on the match, because we'll do an actual breakdown in a minute, but does Damien then go back to quartering you after you beat him? Yeah,
Damien was in my corner for Orchard, absolutely.
So how does that process go? I'd be like, hey, man, so this is awkward. I'll see you back in my corner in a few minutes. I'm gonna just
not awkward at all. Not awkward at all. Zero animosity. We shake hands. We joke around. It's literally like the match didn't even happen. Like it's 0-0 anything. zero awkward. We just shake it off. We've been doing this for long enough. It's like nothing almost.
You guys are far less petty than I am, so I appreciate that about you guys. I would definitely be in the corner.
Energy, the pettiness it feels good, but it's exhausting over the years.
Oh, you're just not dead in your heart. You got to learn how to kill that part of your brain and heart. But I do know this. I love the fact that I see the two of you guys over there, because one thing I really want to compliment the B team about is, and I mentioned this to Jay, is that when you guys won at ADCC through him, there was a great moment of seeing you guys all together. Like, somebody got a great photo of you guys all celebrating, and it felt like one of those first true moments as a team. We got to see you guys excited, because I've been used to seeing you guys so straight-faced with never really being emotive or expressive, but it just seems like you guys are so much more relaxed and your true selves. So to see that moment together, I was like, I think that's why you guys are so intriguing and so many people are rooting for you guys.
Yeah, we're actually enjoying life now.
So let's get to this competition. At the very end, we won't give away on the match by match, but did that match go as you expected it to go between you and Orchard?
I didn't really have any expectations. I didn't really know. I honestly, no offense to Orchard or anyone on that side, I just kind of assumed Keith was going to make it out of that end of the bracket. That's not a shot at anyone. Keith is very good. He just won trials, so clearly he's on his game these days. As far as I know, who knows what's going on in his personal life, but it looks like he's on his game these days. So I expected Keith to make it out of that side. Maybe if Nate didn't slam him, he would have made it out. He would have subbed Nate. Who knows? But Nate's good as well, and I didn't have any expectations going to the match. Expectations were it's going to be a tough match and prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And again, it's just another feeling out process. You take it one match at a time. You go out there, you push them around, pull them around, keep an eye on your pace, and I pretty much felt like I was able to outposition him pretty quick into the match. Like, I don't know when I shot and then got to his back, but as soon as you tie up with a guy, you can pretty much feel if you're physically stronger, second of all, you're positionally a little more aware. And I felt like I was both. He's definitely wiry and he's lanky, so he has that kind of long guy strength. But I felt I was pretty dominant positionally throughout the entire thing. I landed some heavy shots, but again, to answer your question, I didn't really expect anything. I just kind of hope for the best and stick to the plan and feel them out. And then when I know I'm better, then start to open up a bit, and that's it. Yeah.
All right. So if you nerds want to actually see the breakdown of this match, it'll be a separate video. Be a premium member, watch that part. But I guess the question I'm going to ask you now is, what did it mean to actually win the whole thing? Because obviously things go well for you in that match. Obviously the ACL surgery. Obviously you've always wanted to be on the EBI stage to win a championship. This is essentially that, just a little different. Given all those things, what did it mean to actually win that event?
Means a lot in a lot of different ways. Coming up, I never thought that I would be, I was always looking at EBI I'm going to do that and I'm going to win. And lo and behold, I did it, but in a bit of a different format. So it's cool. It's just good to be back. It's good to feel happy about everything again. I love Austin. I love B Team. I love my routine. I love the city and the routine and the rhythm we're in out in Austin is my favorite training environment I've ever been in. It's just good to be back to loving the entire routine again. And that matters the most to me out of all of this. The ACL surgery obviously is pertinent to my career and my livelihood, but just being happy with your day-to-day life is fucking priceless. So I think that's what this means to me. Just seeing myself back out there, successful and ready for the next one.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. As you were really coming up, I expected to interview you as a EBI winner many years ago. So before they had even done Combat, you were always on my radar. I mean, obviously you had big wins and we did interviews after those wins. But in my trajectory, I always thought like, all right, well, it's only a matter of time before I interview him as an EBI winner. Things change.
Lo and behold, CJJ.
Lo and behold, here we are. And yet it still did happen. It's just different, and it is kind of cool to see it happen in this way.
I think it's cooler. I think it's cooler. CJJ is a little more hardcore. You get more respect for that than a regular EBI, it seems like.
It actually does come with some more bragging rights.
I agree.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and close out this part of the interview? I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity to shout out any of your sponsors, any of your people. I know you already shouted out your B team, but anybody that you want to go ahead and identify or single out, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to put the camera on you, sir. But anybody you want to thank for helping you bring home such an epic and great win this week.
Hell yeah. So we got Roll Forever. It's always Betty brought her a special place in my heart, my career, and my life. The Jiu-Jitsu, Jesse, you're the man. If he's going to see this, I don't know. He's busy running Jiu-Jitsu out there in San Diego. Super cool guy, beautiful brand. Use my codes for those two brands if ever you want to get some gear and support me. They're on my Instagram. Bitcoin Cash, mega supportive. Roger, aka Bitcoin Jesus. I doubt he'll ever watch this, because he just doesn't really watch this stuff, no offense to the podcast, but he just, I don't know, he's in another universe. So regardless, big thanks to Roger Ver, Bitcoin Cash. Go check it out. My surgeon, Sebastien Simard, again, will never see this for sure, but regardless, I'll put it out there. You did a great job on my knee. It held up strong. So thank you for being good at what you do. And my guys at B Team, you guys are the best. They'll probably see this. Hopefully, some of them will. So huge thanks to them. Whoever of you are out there watching it, thank you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you at the gym.
I'm just gonna send you a link that's queued up to the end of this. I was like, you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. Just send out that part and be like, hey, if you guys want to watch this, here's the part where I mention you. You'd be surprised how many people are like, oh, I won't watch it unless you mention me. And I'll be like, do you watch any part of the other interview? Nah, just the parts that had me in it. I'm like, oh.
I understand that. Everyone has their level of, they're the main character, and that's it. That's good. That's a healthy perspective. Everyone should feel like they're the main character of their life,
Hey, more power to them. I don't care how they watch, just as long as they watch. I don't give a fuck. So it's still a view to me. I'll take it. Ethan, right. I want to tell you this. We're going to break here, but before we do, I do want to acknowledge, look at this beautiful backdrop. The rest of you guests, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. If you ever come on my show, have this backdrop. Because it is so beautiful to see that behind the scenes. This is now a diss to everybody else who's ever come on my show. If you don't bring this backdrop, don't come on my show. I think that's the official way I'm going to do it. Well, Ethan, I want to tell you this, and I do mean it. I really did expect at some point to interview you as an EBI champ, but I think it is sweeter. I think it is great that you were able to do this, and I'm glad that we were able to catalog this as a win. So I appreciate your time. I thank you very much. And congratulations again to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's great to talk to you. It's cool to debrief about the win. Feels
Absolutely.
Good. Awesome.
Perfect.